Hi, my friend. It's me, Pat Sloan, here for my daily video. This is Monday night version called the Fireside Chat, which is done in the evening so that more people can do the premiere and chat online. So today I've got this underlying theme of creativity, which I might actually be bringing through the whole week, and I'll kind of explain that as we go along. So let's first address. Let's address Ellie. Hi, Ellie. No, Ellie the elephant. So the stomping ground. So along is we should be making blocks. You should have lots of elephants now. You should have a whole herd of them. There are so many adorable elephants showing up in the Facebook group. I can't stand it. They're so cute. Gorgeous, gorgeous elephants. I really like seeing some. The variety is amazing because I'm doing mine in Morrison Park, which is exactly what Wendy did. Wendy Shepard, who designed the pattern, she did it for my Morrison Park Sew Along. So she did it for the tour of the fabric line. So she did all of hers in Morrison Park, and so I'm just copying her so I can have one too. So I've got red and pink elephants. But there just has been. I love that there's an amazing color array of elephants. There have been a few people who have done gorgeous, handsome Ed the Elephant in grays. And then there are sherbet colored ones and elephants made with Kaif's, exotic, big prints. Everything you can think of. I think there's been a 30s elephant with 30s fabrics, which is just so darling. So you need to go over there, check it all out, because they are just stomping all along the page. Just every day, it's like everyone's cuter than the next. It's just like, oh my gosh, you cannot make a bad elephant. Somebody said that. It's like, you cannot do this. You can do this in any fabric, and he's adorable. She's adorable. So today you should have some elephant making. Now I have decided, I went up and measured the headboard in my room, so I'm definitely going to do the elephants as a long version, and I will be adding 2 more to each row, and I will do 3 rows. So I will have 3 rows of elephants that will go across my headboard, and then I will buy a curtain rod to hang them on up there. So that is exciting. It's exciting to have the decision made because I have a lot of elephants made. So now I can start sewing the rows of them and get them ready for their new home. And also in that room, I am going to take the Florida fabric quilt that I did, and I'm waiting for the fabric to come in to add some of the palm tree fabric on the borders and do some more pillow shams with that. And so that'll be really fun to have some new things hanging in there. I haven't switched things out in my bedroom for a while, so that's always fun, and that is creative. So what I want you to do today is think like an underlying theme of everything that I think this week. We think you should do it this week, the whole week. Every day when you get up, think about the things that you're doing and how are they creative? Can you do them in a more creative way? Can you sort of absorb or bring into every process that you're doing something a little bit different that makes it more creative for you? And creative being fulfilling, like it's exciting, it's fun, rather than a chore. Like, even some mundane things. Like, can you, put away the groceries in a more creative manner? I don't know what that would be, but maybe you can think of something that would make it more fun. Now, what I've done in the last few days is sort of take a little mental break from the work part of what I do, and I went and through my bins, and I have gotten some new fabrics in that I'll be showing you over the next few weeks to do projects with, or to be inspired by. And I needed to get those organized. I needed to unload bins that had older projects and move those out. I had some like Christmas fabric I had not put back with the Christmas fabric yet. And so I spent time doing all that. I labeled all my bins. So now they have all those lovely labels on them. And my decision now is, should I take that one shelf in there that has sort of ironing supplies and some other things in there, and generally, the door is shut 99.9% of the time. So the fact that one shelf is not bins is fine with me, but it's not useful. And what I'm finding is that that shelf, I could have project bins on it that would be more useful, and just take all those ironing supplies out, and I might put them in a bin down here. So I don't need to use the starch every day. I don't need to use the spray basting every day. I don't use my mini iron every day. So those things could go in a basket down here, and then I could just get them when I want to. Because my iron is right here. The ironing board is right on the end of this table. It's on the other side of the camera is the ironing board. So that was very satisfying. You know, I was able to do that. And I also thought about my word do for the year, because do is more of like, it's an action for me. It's an action. So any sort of action that I'm creating for myself during this year, I consider that falling under my do category. So getting the things put away, getting the bins labeled, getting the bins cleaned up so that they were more organized. Like, I took some stuff out of them that needed to go, they were like future, maybe I'll do this someday project. It doesn't need to be in my prime space. I'm not working on it right now, nor intend to. So it needed to move out and go into another storage space. I needed to switch it over there. So I did that. And those things were very creative to me. Like, that was creative to think, okay, now I'm freshening this up. Now I'm getting in here again, and I have to do this often. You know, the things that I'm primarily want to work on or I am working on, and things that I'm not using or not doing much with don't need to be in my prime workspace. They can be in long-term storage, more long-term storage, because I have storage in my dining room. So that's where most of that goes. There's also storage in the extra bedroom, which is primarily the quilts and some older things. So as I was going through that, I found some blocks, you know, single blocks that were random. They didn't fit in the project, whatever, a test block. And I thought, okay, I'm going to put those with all the blocks. Well, I've talked about that. I've talked about this shoebox of blocks that I put everything in, the plastic shoebox, and that it's full. Not only was it full, but I was stacking stuff on top of it. So I decided to be creative, and this is where it really sparked my thought today. It's like, wow, I need to talk about this. I need us to think about being creative all the time, because when you do things a little bit different, a little bit out of what you're normally doing, then it gets a different part of your brain working, a different part of your creative brain working. So I decided I would finally empty that shoebox, and I will show you what's in there in a minute. I decided to empty the shoebox, and as I was going through it, a couple things happened. One, let me go up here. See on the wall? So exciting. So the first thing that happened, I want to probably pull you in here a little bit, is that I found these. I found this set of half square triangles. And so when I found these, I thought, oh, those go with those 4 flower blocks that was the top for the button club. What if I use these in the border, and how many of these did I have? Because they were in that shoebox. So I went and got the quilt out from the top, where I have all the tops. So I have all my tops in one space. So I got the top out, and I thought, oh, that is pretty cool. I got to move this up. I've got to move this up a little bit. There you go. So I put that up there, and I thought, well, if I have enough, I had enough, but 2. I didn't have. No, I had 4. I needed 4 more. I needed 4 more in order to make this work, you know, in this layout. So I did the 4 corners and then halfway point with 2 half square triangles. Then I thought, I don't really want another beige in here. But then I went rooting around, and I found this green. And this green to me is just perfect. It has sort of a lattice work on it, and it looks a lot like the green here. Now these are tulip pink fabrics in the middle. Then I went looking for another fabric to use here. And this is a very purpley blue. So I don't really have that, and I don't have any big pieces of purple because I don't actually use a lot of purple. So I found this light blue at the top, and then I found this stripe, which was like, the stripe, the stripe. It is a stripe that I have had, and I have a big chunk of it, and I have had that stripe for about 1,000,000 years. It feels 800 years I've had that stripe. So this stripe was an old P&B fabric. I mean, I bet I've had it 15 years, and I have a big chunk of it. So I could put it in here, and then I could use it as the binding. Yes. So this was so fun. So fun. It was so fun to get out the fabrics. And then the problem was I needed 4 more half square triangles. So when I did this, these flowers with the tulip pink fabric, I specifically used those colors from that layer. It was a layer cake. I specifically used those colors, and there were other colors. And so they didn't really go with this, and I believe I gave them to a friend a while back, so probably last year. So I went hunting around, and I found a piece of Tula's purple that has this variegated colors. So see, now let me just hold this up here. There, so like if I'm using this with the variegated colors, I can pull in and cut from the part that has more of the greens in it to do some more half square triangles. But that left the piece that went with it. These fabrics, she had like there's a monkey on the one, and like there's bananas here. And I believe I have another piece with bananas, but it's yellow background. I don't have any more of that beige background. But the other here is this spotty black, has like the ladybug on it. So I thought, well, what if I found, with what I have, a black and white, mostly white with a black. So I went and I have this older piece of fabric that's called, what was it? It was from Wyndham, called Swim Team. So I decided to make the other 4 half square triangles with this. And then what I did is, instead of putting them all together, you know where this is going, right? So I sprinkled them around. I basically used one on all 4 sides of the added, and it just blends in perfectly. So I am super, super happy, and I feel super creative that I went and opened this Pandora's box. Wait till you come on the other side of the table and show you. It's like this Pandora's box of blocks that I've been just putting in this shoebox for, maybe 2 years now. It's been a while. I also found the little, see on the far side, these little butterfly blocks. I had great plans. I was going to do a whole quilt of these. I thought they would be super cute, and this is all the further I got. So I have to decide, do I want to sew those up? Maybe put a little, I could maybe make a square. There'll still be some extras for a table mat, or I could sew them maybe in a strip, maybe get, I don't know, some just fabric on the either end of it, like the charcoal fabric, and then just make that a little table runner. So it is like so close to being something that I will probably leave that out, or I might just dump them all back in. Okay, now we're going to go to the other side of the table, and I tested this, so my cord can go over there without me unhooking everything. And first I'm going to move you over to the other side of the table. So I will talk to you about what you're looking at while I walk around. So I took the shoe box, and I opened it up, and I took everything and I made them into piles by size. So I figured if I do it by size, that gives me a good playing field, I guess. It gives me a way to organize what's here. And I have, here while I'm talking, so I have some big blocks. These are all really big blocks. Then this is a size down. After that, I've got some, I've got to clip this, hold on. I've got some of these units here that are just like, they're just like strips, like there's like a strip. So they're sort of odd units. And then this size here is a little bit smaller than these. Let's see if you can see it all. Yeah. So I've got these that are a little bit smaller than these. This pile is smaller still. And then I have a lot of little half square triangles. Lots and lots of small half square triangles. So I wanted to keep a couple of blocks out that were, here I'm gonna get my thing, that were super precious that I ran across. So let's take a look at these. So cute, so cute, so cute. So this was just a teeny tiny half square triangle, which had from a Valentine project, obviously, which had a little typewriter. And what's this say? It says something on it. I can't read it right now. But then I found this little square and a square. And this teeny tiny, I remember making this one, teeny tiny little shoe fly. These are little cutoffs from the Out West block. And then I have a little star from, working on, I think, project baby quilt. There is one hexagon flower. I'm not sure why that came out from all the other, I know, it came with something else. So there's another EPP, English paper piecing. So I've got the papers on the back. Isn't that fabulous? That was fun to do. So that was for somebody's sew along. I think it was for Katya's book, Sew Along. So these are a little bit cuter, this whole pile here, and small. But even like over here, this particular block, I know, whoops, this was a block from here we'll pull out. This was a block from a sew along I did many years ago. And I think what happens is I found the blocks, and I know there's several of them there that it was a beginner sew along that I did with a friend. And so I just put all those together, and then they ended up in the bin because I'm like, I'm not going to sew them into a quilt. I'm just going to throw them into the miscellaneous bin. But what was neat is that at this point I have things like this, which are a little bit more pastel, and then here are a little bit richer colors. I don't really have a lot of sort of browns, or sort of traditional colors at the moment, but I do have one, this is actually a matte. This was a finished matte project from using my gingerbread men, but I didn't go any further with it. I didn't make anything else with it. So I will now take, here's some little bees. That was a project. I think this is a pattern off of the Fat Quarter Shop. Of any of these things, if I can find them, I'll link them below. Here was another sew along I did with another English paper piecing. So it was an alphabet with one of my friends. So going through this now, I will take these blocks and put them by color, so that I have like anything that's soft and pastel, or anything that might be similar colors, I will put them together. Like here is a block that I tried out, and it's very soft. This is fig tree fabric, and I know I have a few fig tree blocks in there. So if I get the like-minded blocks together, then I will see how big of a unit I can make. A lot of these, because I've been working in certain colors for a while now, a lot of these are really similar. So they may end up making 2 quilts if I want to make like lap size quilts, just with, kind of like everything but the kitchen sink goes in there. So I would put it up on the wall and play. So this is another place where creativity comes back, because it's very invigorating. It's really just gets the whole sort of mental process just really revved up for me to go through here and put the blocks, I can't even talk, put the blocks up on the wall, and then try to fit all these pieces in like a puzzle. You know how my solstice is, and the grandma's kitchen, the flower bouquet, all of those sew-alongs, and the one that we're doing now, Home Is, are all different size blocks with spacers and things, and that is exciting to me to work with. So these all came in this shoebox. They're not all going to fit back in here. So I am going to try to sort them a little bit by color. At least get the ones that, if I've got some that are really pastel, I might take all the pastel stuff and put it in one bag so that it can sort of stay together, and then maybe I can fit all the rest of the stuff back in that shoebox. Because I can't have an overflowing shoebox of these. And I I'm not really ready to take the time to do these right now, but I am feeling like it's something to do this year, something to get up there. Because once I put them on the wall, I can't really take them down and put them up and take them down and put them up. It becomes very difficult. I need to have a really good plan once I take them down, because they'll go out of order. So it'd be a lot of like marking them into rows or sections so I can get them back up again to sew them. So it works a little better if I have, I don't need the design wall for a little while. I can leave them up for a while. That's why I liked putting the flowers up there, because that's exciting to me. I'm like, yes, I can go ahead and sew that. That'll be super fun. Plus, I did another blue block. So those of you who are looking at the house block number 2, I mean at the house, the home is block number 2. This is a warm spot. I did a third one. Okay, let's go back to the other side. Now that you've seen all of this, let me take you back over there, and I need to get over there without pulling. So I'm hoping to bring creativity front and center this week, that everything that I'm working on, everything that I'm looking at, to have kind of a new light on it, a new way. And I think part of that has to do with me doing the bread, because making the bread and working with the sourdough bread, working with sourdough bread is a lot different than just taking a bread recipe and kneading it and you know, letting it rise and then baking a regular loaf of bread. With the sourdough, and I'm doing a sourdough from scratch, sourdough starter from scratch and using it. One of our friends linked me up to another video from a fella that you know, really explained through the process, because I knew when I made that bread the other day that it didn't seem right. I mean, I've baked bread, so I know what the texture of it should look like, and it just wasn't there. And then I watched this video, and it needed to have gone a few more steps in the rising and then kneading and then, you know, shifting around of the bread. So that was fun. That was really creative. But you have to learn new things, you have to take time. We often rush. We rush. I rush. And I've talked about this recently. Like, I rush things. I'm like, oh, I gotta hurry, gotta do this, gotta do that. And I've noticed that with trying to learn the sourdough stuff. I'm like, oh, do I want to take an hour to read through watch these videos, then read what it says, and then go ahead and do this stuff? And it's a process. It isn't like, you know, I need to spend maybe 2 days on this the next time to get the bread ready. Go ahead and let it have the rise times, and you know, go through that process. And I start talking to myself in my head like, oh, do I want to do that? But I do. It's creative. It's something I've wanted to do for a really long time. You know, since probably 1980. I mean, like, really long time. I've been interested in learning how to do sourdough bread. And now I am. Now I'm in, sort of got myself down into the middle of the creative process with it, and I want to take the time to learn more and do more with it and understand it a little bit deeper. So some of you might be doing that in the near future, like on Friday when we do the lovely hearts sew along. So you can pick any heart, but I'm making these from the new ones from the Fat Quarter Shop, and a lot of you are very interested in this particular one. It's half square triangles, and so there are 2 sizes. The one size will be 35 by 35 quilt, which isn't really that big. It's maybe, you know, about the size of the flowers up there without the border, you know, so it's not a big quilt. But the small one is 12 by 12. 12 by 12 is not very big. So here's one unit of the 12 by 12 with my Morrison Park. So it is, look, it just sits in my hand. This is half, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is, it's not, this isn't 6 inches, but it's about, this is 5.5 inches. So 6 inches would be half of the heart. So that width-wise. So it's only about this big. You know, it's a 12-inch ruler. So get a 12-inch ruler out. That's as big as the quilt will be. These are 1-inch squares. They're finished. So you see that one, 1 inch. That's 1 inch half square triangle, which means they're tiny. They're tiny, 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 tiny. And you may want to try something new. You may want to see how creative it is to work with a new technique to do something you already know how to do. So with these, you might want to try the triangles on a roll. These are sheets that you will sew up into the half square triangles. This one finishes to the 1-inch half square triangle. And you can see I didn't open it up yet. Well, I'll open it up. It's taped, so let's see if I can get that off. Yes. So they are marked with sewing lines. So you're basically sewing all your seams on the paper. You're sewing all your seams. You're following the little arrows, and then you will cut, and then you will remove this paper. And this is thinner paper. It's not as thick as your paper you write on. I would do a little bit smaller stitch length. There are lots of videos out there on how to use this. I'll do a little demo on Friday when we kick off the lovely hearts. So, but this is fun, and this can be very creative for you if you want to try making half square triangles in a different manner, because there's a lot of half square triangles in here. So you may want to do 8 at a time or something, especially with the bigger one, the 35 by 35 quilt. That would be great for like doing 8 half square triangles at once. You can use my triangle book. I've got different methods in there, because you can use multiples, and then you just move them all around to where you want them positioned. It's a free pattern, so you can download it now and take a look at it to understand it. You build it on sideways, and then you rotate it. So you will have, so you build it like this, and then to get the heart, you rotate it and put side units. So that is the basics of it. So you can see there on this one here. So you're going to have big half square triangles after you've turned this square on its side. You rotated it so that it's point to point instead of a square like this. It's now a diamond. And that can be something fun and creative. Let's see. Did I have something else to show you today? I did. I did. This has been sitting here for a couple of days, and I haven't shown you yet. I have to show you because it just makes me smile. Several of you have been talking about the new fabric line by Maureen McCormick, who played Marcia on the Brady Bunch. So you are Marcia fans on the Brady Bunch. She is a quilter, and the Motive people have contracted to work with her to do some fabric lines, and this is the first one, and it looks a whole lot of happy, doesn't it? I believe somebody might be making their elephants out of this. If so, oh, tell me yes you are. So let's look at this. You can see a lot. I think this looks like sheets I had, like in the 70s. But it's all the other prints. There's a plaid, and then there's a bunch of small prints in the orange and green. There's a big happy print on the light background. Here's orange daisies, very 70s, very, very orange background. There's pink, there's a stripe in here too, and then a bigger daisy, tossed daisy. There's the aquas, gotta have aqua. Oh, and here's one with like a tossed flowers in there. The other plaid, this aqua plaid, is amazing. Can you see that as an elephant ear? This would be so cute. So this is her first line, called A Blooming Bunch, and it is just happy, happy fabric. So I wanted to show it to you in case you were looking for something like that. I have to get my, hold on. So I want you to think about creativity over the next days, this week. Everything that you're doing, everything that you think about, just think, how can it be more creative? Today is Martin Luther King Day, and every year on this day, I read I Have a Dream. I read that again. Also, many times on this day, I do something different. And like one year I started my podcast. Now, of course, the whole process for the podcast started 6 months prior. But the actual first podcast I did, like 12 years ago now, I did it for 10 years, was on Martin Luther King Day. And other times I've started big projects on this day. I've been mulling around whether to start something or just kick off something more creative for myself. And I think that's why I ended up going into this shoebox of blocks, because I thought this is a really creative process for me. And that is what I kicked off today, was the idea that I get back to doing some quilt progress, some quilt project that is not something I'm writing a pattern for. It doesn't have to be delivered for a book or for a fabric line. It's just something I can dig in and do for myself, to play and to be creative. And that is what I like about January in general, but it's often what I do at this midpoint in the month, because Martin Luther King Day is generally just past the middle of the month. So it is my time to sort of kick off for the year something interesting for myself. All right, my friends. I hope you enjoyed this thinking about creativity today. It is something we all do, but it can get lost. It can get lost in the making. It can get lost in the process. And I want you to bring it all back today. Bring it back front and center so that you're always thinking about it. Things I've talked about are down below and at my website. You can just go there. The link is in the first comment to just go over to my website and see all the links that I have. And I'll do a couple pictures of the blocks there that are in the bin. So I'll lay them out and I'll put a picture there on my website and talk a little bit about it. So thank you so much. I love you. See you online.